ABC24 News starts right now with breaking news.
That breaking news is out of downtown, where a shooting investigation is happening right now. Witnesses tell us that a fight near Union in Maine turned into a shooting. You're taking a look at some of the video from that incident this morning. Memphis police telling us that one person was found shot near Maine and Gayoso. He is now in critical condition. Another person has been detained. Today, Riley Strain will be laid to rest. The University of Missouri student disappeared in Nashville after he was kicked out of a bar on March the 8th. His body was found 2 weeks later in the Cumberland River. Also happening today, new superintendent of MSCS, Dr. Marie Fagans, will host a meet and greet. She's set to officially start next week. Let's say good morning to everybody. Thank you so much for waking up and making us a part of your Friday morning. It is a very busy day of news and also a very busy day to commemorate. I'm Ruben Diaz. It was 1 year ago this weekend on March 31st, 2023, when deadly storms moved through the Mid-South. At 4:30, a tornado actually touched down in Cross County, Arkansas. Let's take you through that. Then it quickly moved into wind, right? Then by 5:45, another tornado hit Tipton County, Tennessee, and then caused damage near the Covington area. Then storms continued for several hours in the evening, and then the deadliest tornado of the day happened in McNairy County. You see the path right there, right? That happened at 9:30. In all, 14 people were killed by those three tornadoes. We have live team coverage this morning for you. We have Yvonne Cooper out in Covington, and then meteorologist Trevor Burchett is live in Wynn as well. We'll get to them in just a minute, but first, we do want to get you caught up on your forecast for the day as you get ready to head out the door. Meteorologist Corey Smith joining me now in studio with that. Good morning, Corey.
Good morning, Ruben. And the good news for today, at least, we're looking at some pretty quiet weather. And if we take a look outside right now, quiet conditions to start off your Friday. And we are looking at temperatures getting into the 70s in the afternoon. The good thing is we're warmer. We've been cold the last couple of mornings. We are still a little bit chilly out in Bolivar, 36, 37 in Corinth, 39 in Holly Springs, 48 currently in Memphis, and 41 in Truman. Let's take a look at the rest of the forecast for today, though, because we are going to be getting back into the 70s. Around 70 degrees around 2 p.m., 71 around 4 o'clock. We're in the middle of the upper 70s, though, heading into your Easter weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up.
March 31st, which is this Sunday, is a day that many will never forget across the Mid-South. We are live in Covington this morning as we're following 1 year later those deadly storms that ripped through many parts of the Mid-South, including Tennessee and in Arkansas. Here in Covington, there has been a lot of work done, but there is still a lot left to do. Those tornadoes really left a path of destruction, damaging more than 40 businesses, more than 110 homes, but also 2 schools here in Covington as well. Later on in the show, we'll have more from a man who is still looking for a place to live 1 year later. And that damage didn't just stop here in Covington or in Tipton County. It went all the way down the road to McNairy County. 9 people were killed there. Later that night, the director of the emergency management agency there says that McNairy County is also in long-term recovery as well. 300 homes were affected by the tornado there. 100 of those homes were destroyed. But state and federal resources are still available to the survivors there. We will have more live here from Covington in just a few minutes, but now let's head across the bridge to Arkansas, where Trevor Burchett is live in Wynn this morning with a look at recovery efforts there. Trevor.
Yvonne, it was a year ago this weekend that Wynn changed forever. Dozens of homes and businesses were completely destroyed. Now, we spoke to the mayor of Wynn, and she tells us that at least 1/3 of Wynn's housing was affected or completely lost. To date, nearly $5 million has been spent by the city to rebuild, and the mayor estimates the total amount of damage to the city could easily cross the $160 million line. Now, one of those buildings that was completely destroyed was Wynn High School, the town's only high school. But something that couldn't be destroyed by that EF3 tornado was the spirit of the town of Wynn, the city with a smile, as they say. In fact, some say that spirit is stronger than ever.
It was 4:30 p.m. on March 31st, 2023, when a tornado first touched down in western Cross County, Arkansas. That tornado quickly intensified and roared toward a town of 8,000 people.
Wynn, Arkansas, you have got to be in your tornado safe place this second.
The EF3 tornado hit Wynn with winds as high as 150 miles an hour. 4 people were killed and dozens were hurt. The tornado destroyed homes, businesses, and the town's only high school, Wynn High. Principal Dusty Meek remembers getting the call he never thought he'd get.
About that time, I had a coach and his wife, or actually 2 of them, that had gone to the old high school, the gym. They said the high school's gone. I mean, it's just kind of like, well, I mean, what do you do? It really was tough.
It was especially tough for seniors like Megan Hess, just weeks away from her senior graduation.
We're supposed to walk across the field in like a month and a half, and like we don't have a field to walk across. We don't have hallways to walk down to class anymore. I could see into my math class that I sat in my senior year.
After salvaging what they could from the school and moving classes to a nearby community college, the time came to plan for senior graduation. While the ceremony couldn't take place on their home football field like normal, the seniors did get something special.
The turf, some of the yard lines were left, and we were able to cut out a 3. And then we're like, well, let's try to find a 2. And I mean, it's just had to be a miracle in itself, as over in the corner where some of the turf was mangled and still together, there was a 2. And we were able to get the 2, so we laid out the 2 and the 3, and the graduates, as they came in and walked in, they all got to walk over a piece of home as we were coming in, and that was really special.
Once the class of 2023 graduated, focus shifted to planning and constructing a temporary school building, one that could be used for several years while a new permanent school was constructed.
I mean, we kind of divided and conquered, and we designated different things and really came together to get that done.
And they did get it done in record time. The foundation was poured in July, and by the first week of September, students filled the walkways of the temporary Wynn High School. At first glance, it may look a little unusual. Students have class in glorified shipping containers, and the cafeteria and auditorium are intense with PVC walls. But on the inside, it's just like any other school.
I said, this is all of our career classes. We've got our East Lab, broadcast. We have our teaching class, business classes.
A few buildings over, you'll find the gymnasium, complete with that Wynn yellow jacket at center court. Principal Meek said they're adding small touches to make this feel more like home.
Of course, when they put the awnings over and they've added the lights in the evening, and you kind of get a hallway feel as you come through.
Planning is well underway for the new permanent Wynn High School, expected to be completed by 2026. For now, the school site is an empty field, still full of memories.
It's like, man, I'm grateful for these 4 years that I did have here. Like, I'm grateful that I got to be a part of it.
Hopefully this fall we'll be able to break ground on the new school, and then from there it's an 18 to 24 month project. Right now we're focusing on the now and worried about what we got to do here to get these kids graduated, ready to be successful.
Now, as you heard, it's going to be a few more years before the school building is officially open and ready to accept students. But this morning we are standing in something that has already been rebuilt. That is the Wynn Yellow Jacket football stadium. New turf is down, new lighting, new stands, and it's just a sign of how this community is continuing to move forward. I want to send things back to meteorologist Corey Smith. He's in the studio this morning with the paths that those storms took a little over a year ago.
That's right, Trevor. Let's take a look at what led to that severe weather that day just a year ago. This large area of low pressure. We had a lot of warm, moist air moving in ahead of it. And you can see these were the Storm Prediction Center outlooks, that rare level 5 high risk for the Mid-South as the system moved out towards the east. And we had a lot of wind energy with this, and that's what's led to really that tornadic weather that we saw across the Mid-South. 8 tornadoes in all. Of course, we talked about this system right here. This is really the one that caused some of the most damage, moving from Wynn to Covington. And we're going to talk more about this coming up a little bit later on. Let's talk more about your weather for today, though. It's looking like it's going to be a pretty nice day here across the Mid-South. And overall, we're looking at pretty comfortable weather for this time of the year. So as they head out the door, we're really not looking at any colder starts like we've seen to start things off for the beginning of this week. Sitting in the 30s and 40s, working towards the 70s in the afternoon, partly to mostly cloudy skies. And then as we head into the weekend, we're looking pretty nice as well. Easter weekend, of course, coming up. Temperatures middle to upper 70s, partly to mostly cloudy conditions as we head through your Sunday. That could lead to some rain maybe next week. We're going to talk more about that coming up in just a couple minutes.
Developing this morning, Mayor Paul Young narrowly avoided an assault at Folks Folly on Monday. According to Memphis police, the mayor was actually leaving dinner when a man tried to force himself into Young's car outside of that restaurant. Officers arrested the suspect, James Banks, who you see on your screen. He was charged with disorderly conduct and public intoxication. A reminder for Memphians this morning in honor of Good Friday, Solid Waste Management will not be picking up your trash today. Collection will resume as normal, though, next week. All right, how about a chance to make a difference in Memphis? This morning, MPD wants you to put on the uniform. How you can join the department still to come. Also coming up, lighting up the night. Trolley nights are back. We'll let you know when you can actually take part. It is 6:13 on your Friday morning. You're taking a live look at the Memphis skyline as the sun's going to be up soon. We've got a lot of news to get to today. Let's get you caught up on your top stories on this Friday morning. Up first, a shooting investigation is happening right now in downtown Memphis. The call came in around 2 o'clock this morning. Police found one person shot. That person is in critical condition. Stephen Pimpo is actually live downtown with more on what we know and how Mayor Paul Young is hoping to curb some of this crime. Stephen?
Ruben, that is correct. Memphis police tell us that one person is in critical condition. That's a male victim who was taken to Regional 1, and another person, another male, has been detained by MPD. Now, witnesses tell us that a fight broke out somewhere in this area, and that is what led to the gunfire. Now, this video you're seeing now is from earlier this morning. This is just blocks from Gayoso, or is right near Gayoso Avenue, and blocks from Beale Street, and very much in the heart of downtown Memphis. The shooting comes just one day after Memphis Mayor Paul Young hosted almost 20 black mayors from cities across the country to talk about crime and public safety, especially implementing similar programs in Memphis that have worked in those cities. Mayor Young said that while the meeting here this week was a success, the changes needed aren't going to happen overnight.
People want the short-term solution. They want to figure out how we're going to stop crime today. And then we want to figure out how do we stop the crime of the future. And in order to do that, it has to be an intense dialogue.
And when it comes to the cities that were represented here, most of them have seen a 20% decrease in homicides. Meanwhile, Memphis has seen more than a 50% increase in its homicide rate. MPD has not released any information on charges in this shooting at this time. Live in downtown Memphis, I'm Stephen Pimpo.
All right, your second top story on this Friday morning. Riley Strain will be laid to rest today. The University of Missouri student disappeared in Nashville after he was kicked out of a bar on March the 8th. His body was later found 2 weeks later in the Cumberland River. And your final top story, the new superintendent of MSCS, Dr. Marie Fagans, will host a meet and greet today. She's set to officially start, by the way, next week. South Main trolley lights are back after a winter hiatus. Tonight, ride around explore the South Main Arts District. Trolley night is the last Friday of the month until December. Now, the first rides start around 6 o'clock tonight.
Let's get you out the door. You can see things moving pretty smoothly on the interstates this morning. Temperatures a little bit cooler. We're in the 30s and 40s, but we'll be very comfortable this afternoon. We'll be back into the 70s. In fact, if you're heading downtown, the first Redbirds game of the season in downtown Memphis, weather looking pretty good. We'll be sitting around 70 degrees around 2 p.m., 71 around 4 o'clock. As we work through today, not much to talk about. You can see on our forecast model, there's a little bit of cloud cover starting to move in towards the end of the day, but that's really all we got to talk about for your Friday. As we head into the weekend, this high pressure is going to start to warm us up. We'll be talking middle to upper 70s as we head into your Easter weekend, and that is ahead of our next rain chance coming next Tuesday. Some storms possible out west. We'll watch for some showers here in the Mid-South. So this weekend, overall for Easter, looking pretty good. 75 for your Saturday, 77, mostly cloudy for your Easter Sunday, and we're going to be warm heading into next week. Monday sitting right around 78 degrees before that next rain chance on Tuesday.
Back out here live in Covington as we continue our team coverage this morning, remembering those deadly tornadoes that ripped through the Mid-South nearly 1 year ago today. This small town of nearly 9,000 people, they've been through a lot and they've lost a lot as well, including several businesses, but also more than 110 homes. One of the homes lost was the home of Taylor Jenkins. It was badly damaged during that tornado. Within moments, Dennis Taylor says that his neighborhood was nearly unrecognizable.
My life was changed. My community was changed. And we was at a point where the neighborhood rescue 911 couldn't get to our area because trees was all over the place.
It was a rough day for sure for the Taylor family and for many others. But in the midst of this tragedy, the Taylor family is clinging to faith and clinging to hope. Right now, they're still living with relatives 1 year later until they can find a place to live on their own, because there just is not enough available housing in Covington right now. Mayor Jen Hensley says that that is all a part of the city's 2024 rebuilding plan, where leaders have plans to build more family homes. And soon, crews will even start building a new police station with an 800-square-foot storm shelter in case this happens again in the city of Covington, so that people will have a safe place to go. One of the hardest hit areas in town is one that's known to many people who live here in Covington. It is the historic Crestview Elementary and Middle School. The building, unfortunately, is gone. Now, while the memories still remain, people here in Covington are looking ahead to the future of the school district. Our Stephanie Reels has that story.
If they hadn't let the kids go early, my child would have been one of the many kids in this gym.
It was gut-wrenching.
For Tipton County School Superintendent John Combs, the thought of the March 31st, 2023 tornado brings back chills. To know if the school district had not erred on the side of caution and dismissed early, hundreds of lives at Crestview Elementary and Middle School could have been lost.
Some people really think this helped avoid what could have been a major catastrophe. Do we know how many people could have been at those schools when everything happened?
Oh, it would have been well over 250 at least.
I would have had family, in the buildings. And everywhere there's, center block wall, there's steel I-beams. No life could have withstood that kind of, trauma.
For decades, Crestview served as a cornerstone of Tipton County, where generations of families like Stephanie Bird's walked the hallways.
If you live in Covington, chances are you went to Crestview. If you didn't, your kids did.
To see the damage was heart-wrenching for them.
They both just started crying because that's all they've known.
The district immediately began work on 2 temporary schools at Cobb Park. But in order to open them in the fall, the district needed a miracle.
This happened in March. They didn't start those structures until like a month and a half, 2 months before school started. And we're sitting here going, what are our kids going to do? This is not going to be ready in time. And it was just amazing.
And just like that,
good morning,
a miracle.
I'm just so proud that they were able to just get us started for the school year.
Students could finally see their friends, their teachers, and a new place to learn.
If you were to come to Crestview today, you're going to see that there's really not a whole lot left. Playground equipment like this, completely mangled or in pieces. Tree branches that line the school dangling from the storm that happened a year ago. Even this area right over here, it's completely leveled. That is where the school used to be, but now there's nothing in places that kids used to roam the hallways. That is except for one thing. This sign right here from Crestview saying goodbye to Covington, but on the other side, a message of hope for the future. Now get ready for CMS 2.0.
It's going to be one of the nicest school buildings in West Tennessee.
A fresh start and a new name, Covington Elementary and Middle School. 2 schools under one roof starting in August 2025.
Part of me wants to see it stay the same, on the same hand. You can't stay in the past. You can treasure the past.
I want to say more than anything, thank you for being patient because the end is coming and it's going to look nice.
In Covington, I'm Stephen Reels.
People have a lot to look forward to here in Covington, but also a lot of loved ones to remember across the Mid-South. As those storms moved from Arkansas through Tennessee, it did take homes, but also it took lives. Trevor Burchett is live in Wynne, Arkansas this morning with more on the lives lost.
Yvonne, it was a deadly day that March 31st of last year. 14 people were killed in the Mid-South by 3 separate tornadoes. Here in Wynne, Arkansas, where we are this morning, 4 people were killed when the tornado hit. All of them were in residential areas. Officials have never officially released the names of those 4 that were killed. In Tipton County, where Yvonne is this morning, 31-year-old Cody Moses was killed. The Tipton County EMA director confirmed Cody's death was the only fatality in Tipton County. The McNairy County community was hit hard, resulting in the death of 9 people. 4 of those in one home together, Maria and William Avila and Myrna and Alan Littlefield. Now, while no tornadoes hit the city of Memphis that night, straight line winds were an issue and 3 people were killed near the airport area when a tree fell on a home. Yvonne, we are thinking about the families of those that are dealing with this 1-year anniversary, and of course we hope that they're all resting in peace.
Trevor, thank you so much for that update and that report. As we remember those lives lost, it is also very important to remember those brave men, women, and people, those first responders that sprung into action to help many of the families and saved more lives that day as well. We have still more news, weather, and traffic to come here on ABC24 in this special edition of our coverage this morning at 6. Up next, from triumph through tragedy, I'll introduce you to one man who is still homeless 1 year after his home was destroyed in Covington.
Let's take a look as they head out the door. Temperatures in the 30s and 40s, depending on where you're at. 48 in Memphis, 36 in Corinth, and 48 in Blytheville. Radar is quiet to start off your day, and we're not expecting any rain for the next couple days. Maybe going for a dog walk today. Temperature is not too bad. 67 by noon, 71 around 3 o'clock. That 7-day forecast looking mild into your Easter weekend.
A close call. Memphis mayor nearly falls victim to crime. Coming up, what we know about an avoided attack on him.
Plus, we are approaching the 1-year anniversary this weekend of the deadly March 31st, 2023 tornadoes. We are live this morning checking in on the progress in Wynne and Covington, and also checking in with McNairy County, Tennessee.
ABC24 News starts right now with breaking news.
That breaking news is out of downtown Memphis, where a shooting investigation is happening right now. Witnesses tell us a fight near Union in Maine turned into an actual shooting. Memphis police say one person was found shot near Maine and Gayoso. He is in critical condition. Another person has been detained in that incident. Today, Riley Strain will be laid to rest. The University of Missouri student disappeared in Nashville after he was kicked out of a bar on March the 8th. His body was found 2 weeks later in the Cumberland River. Also happening today, new superintendent of MSCS, Dr. Marie Fagans, will host a meet and greet. She is actually officially set to start her new job next week. All right, let's take a live look outside on this Friday morning. We have a big day of team coverage ahead for you this very morning. Trevor and Yvonne will be joining us live from Wynne and Covington in just minutes with live team coverage of the anniversary of those deadly Mid-South tornadoes. But first, let's get a check of your weather today with meteorologist Corey Smith as he gets you out the door. Corey?
Good morning, Ruben. And as we head into your Friday, things are looking pretty comfortable. We're already a little bit warmer to start off your day. Still a bit chilly, though. 36 in Bolivar and Corinth, 39 in Holly Springs, 41 in Truman. As we head into this afternoon, 71 degrees will be our high temperature in the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies. We'll start to see some clouds move in the afternoon. But that sets the stage for a very nice Easter weekend on the way. 75 degrees on your Saturday. Easter Sunday itself looking a little bit on the warmer side. 77, mostly cloudy skies. This is ahead of our next rain chance. It's coming next week. We're going to talk more about that coming up in just a couple minutes.
It has been almost a year since a string of deadly tornadoes in the Mid-South, March 31st, 2023, that anniversary on Sunday. But this Friday morning, we are taking a look back at those tornadoes as we remember the one-year anniversary. I'm live in Wynne, Arkansas this morning at the Yellow Jacket Football Stadium as the city continues to rebuild. But we want to start out this morning with Yvonne Cooper. She's up in Covington, taking a look at their rebuilding efforts. Good morning, Yvonne.
The damage is still here. It's still very evident. Good morning. Here in Covington, the damage is still here and it is extremely evident. You can see some of the downed trees behind me. They are actually from the storm that passed through this area nearly 1 year ago today. As you can tell, it's a big recovery effort, not just for businesses and schools here, but also for people who live here, including the Dennis Taylor family, who is still recovering and rebuilding by faith.
Just trust God with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding.
Dennis Taylor is a man of great faith.
Acknowledge him in all your ways and he will direct your path.
His faith was tested nearly 1 year ago.
March 31st, day that we'll never forget.
An EF3 tornado swept through his Covington neighborhood.
2 minutes later, my life was changed. My community was changed.
Within moments, the place Dennis called home was nearly unrecognizable.
My home wasn't totally destroyed, but it was damaged very bad. The roof was very bad. All my windows was knocked out.
Dennis was renting this home. Shortly after the repairs, the homeowner increased the rent. In addition to everything they lost in the storm, the Taylor family could not afford to stay. They lost their home, too.
We're still looking for a place to live right now.
1 year later, Dennis and his family are living with relatives. The Taylor family is one of many still picking up the pieces.
You had over about 110 houses that were totally destroyed besides the businesses, the factories, the schools.
Covington Mayor Jan Hensley believes losing that many homes all at once made the recovery more difficult for some, highlighting a housing shortage in town.
We're so far behind on the housing market here. We need development. And to start developments in this area, it takes nearly a 3-year process to get everything planned out, zoned, roads built.
That is all a part of the city's 2024 rebuilding plan. Leaders turning vacant lots into family homes. Soon, crews will build a new police station with an 800-square-foot storm shelter in case this ever happens again. So while this storm is far from over, for Dennis, he clings to hope.
Because that wind and that tornado could have took me, but God kept me. and for that, I am so grateful.
Because just like the storm on March 31st, this too shall pass. Amen and amen. Hope is here. So let's talk big picture when it comes not just to Covington, but to Tipton County. More than 400 homes were destroyed, and the emergency management director estimates about 1,500 people are still rebuilding, not just the Taylor family. Let's go now 75 miles southeast from us here in Covington in McNairy County, where recovery and rebuilding efforts are underway there as well. The EMA director there says that the county is in long-term recovery. 300 homes were affected by the tornado. 100 of those homes were 100% destroyed. 9 people in McNairy County lost their lives that day. This morning, we will remember that community's resilience, their strength, and support for one another during that tragic day.
And the house just lifted. It felt like it was going to tear apart. And it just terrified me to death. I was scared to death. I've never went through anything like it. My life, it's just, it's ruined. Nothing like it.
97-year-old Nell Daniel lived in her home for 63 years until it was destroyed. Nell told us she was devastated. Her lifelong home was gone forever, but she was grateful
for the community support in her darkest hours.
I have a wonderful, wonderful family, though. It's taking good care of my neighbors. I'm so proud of. Even my former pastor from Greenfield come down today to help.
And that same type of support spread across the county, from family to strangers. Like Chris Bolin, who helped a daughter get through losing her parents to this tornado.
I think God had everything to do with it. It was just meant for us to meet at that time.
We speak every day. She was a light in this situation.
With recovery efforts still underway, there are state and federal resources that are available to you or someone you know who is a survivor of those deadly storms. What you need to do to access those resources is to contact your emergency management director, and that agency will assist you. Let's turn now back to Trevor Burchett, who is live this morning in Wynne, Arkansas, with an update there.
Yvonne, something that I noticed in doing some of these stories, and I know you did too, is the positivity and the faith that a lot of these people have. You know, some of these people that we spoke to in Wynne and Covington and McHenry County literally lost everything, and they're still holding on hope. And I think that says a lot about the spirit of this community. We're live this morning in Wynne, Arkansas. Just over here, we're looking at an empty field where Wynne High School once stood. Construction expected to begin on that new permanent school later this year, but already the Wynne Yellow Jacket football stadium is rebuilt. I just want to show you this. We have new turf laid down. We have the beautiful water tower lit up, new stands, a new press box, and brand new lights. And even though it is still a process and people are still rebuilding here in Wynne, and it's going to take a few more years to get everything a little closer to normal, it's a sign of the spirit and the progress in this community. We do want to get you out the door with a check of your weather forecast. I'm here in Wynne this morning, but meteorologist Corey Smith back in the studio. He has a check of your weather forecast to get you going on this Friday. Good morning, Corey.
Yeah, Trevor, it's going to be a pretty nice end to the week. We're going to start off with our draw of the weather. This is from Abigail. A sunny day over Memphis, and that's what we're actually expecting for the end of your weekend here. Friday looking pretty good. We're sitting in the 30s and 40s right now, 48 currently in Memphis, working towards the 70s in the afternoon. Very comfortable weather on the way. So this afternoon, take a look at some of those temperatures. 70 degrees around 2 p.m. We're at 71 around 4 o'clock, 6 p.m. Still sitting at 69 degrees of partly cloudy skies. Your Easter Sunday, looking forward into the weekend, looking pretty nice as well. Clouds will be increasing throughout the day up to 74 by noon, 76 at 2 p.m. We're going to talk more about this weekend forecast coming up in just a couple minutes.
Attack on an official after the break. Memphis mayor almost becomes a victim of crime. Details on the near assault that happened the same week. He's actually hosting a meeting about curbing crime. And MPD wants you to join the blue team. After the break, more details on today's hiring expo. All right, the time is winding down until we experience the great American solar eclipse. We're now just 10 days away. Take a look at your screen. You can see the countdown happening as we speak. We're 10 days away from this solar spectacular. ABC24 is helping you prepare for that big day. You can catch the eclipse hour every day from 1 to 2 on 24 Plus. Now that's going to give you everything you need to know. To learn more about where you can download 24 Plus, just go to abc24.com/watch. After the break, our team coverage continues as we highlight the recovery efforts since the March 31st tornado. Plus the latest on today's meet and greet with the MSCS newest superintendent. All right, you're taking another live look this morning at the sunrise here as the sun is coming up on this Friday morning. We're going to get you back out to Covington and Wynne for more on the anniversary of that as we commemorate the March 31st tornadoes. But first, we got to get you caught up on some of the news of the day. First up in our top stories, we have a shooting investigation in the heart of downtown. That call came in around 2 o'clock this morning. Police found one person was shot. Stephen Pimpo is actually live downtown with more on what we know and how Mayor Paul Young is actually hoping to curb some of this crime.
Ruben, that is correct. Memphis police tell us that there's one male victim in critical condition in Regional 1, and another male has been detained. Now, according to witnesses, There was some kind of fight that broke out in this area, and that is what led to the gunfire. This video you're seeing right now, that's from the scene early this morning near Gayoso Avenue. It's just a few blocks away from Beale Street and very much in the heart of downtown Memphis. The shooting comes one day after Memphis Mayor Paul Young hosted almost 20 black mayors from cities across the country to talk about crime and public safety, especially implementing similar crime prevention programs in Memphis that have worked in those cities. Mayor Young said that while the meeting here this week was a success, the changes needed aren't going to happen overnight.
People want the short-term solution. They want to figure out how we're going to stop crime today. And then we want to figure out how do we stop the crime of the future. And in order to do that, it has to be an intense dialogue.
Now, when it comes to the violent crime in most of those cities represented here, many of them are seeing homicides go down by 20%. Meanwhile, Memphis's homicide rate is up over 50%. Memphis police have not released any more information on charges in this shooting at this time. Live in downtown Memphis, I'm Stephen Pimpo.
Your second top story, Riley Strain will be laid to rest today. The University of Missouri student disappeared in Nashville after he was kicked out of a bar on March the 8th. His body was found 2 weeks later in the Cumberland River. And your final top story on this Friday morning. Today, the new superintendent of MSCS, Dr. Marie Fagans, will host a media meet and greet. She's set to officially start that new job next week.
Right now, the Midsouth certified most accurate forecast.
As you head out the door this morning, weather is looking pretty nice. We're already sitting in the 40s for a lot of us, 40 in Tunica, 48 in Memphis, 39, a little bit chillier over in Holly Springs to start off the day. This afternoon, weather is looking pretty nice if you are heading down for the Redbirds game. Weather is looking comfortable, 70 degrees around 2 p.m., 70 around 4 p.m. And you'll see the hour-by-hour forecast, not much to talk about here today. Some clouds moving into the afternoon. We'll be in the low 70s as we get towards that peak heating. As we head into the weekend, though, high pressure moving to the east. That's going to warm us up as winds start to direct from the south. That's ahead of our next rain chance. That's going to be moving in as you get into next Tuesday as the system pushes out of the central plains. Something we'll keep an eye on there. But your 7-day forecast going forward, high of 71 today, up to 75. Partly cloudy skies on your Saturday. We're at 77 for your Easter Sunday before that rain starts to move in on Tuesday.
As we continue our team coverage live this morning, I'm in Covington. Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee is also remembering the survivors and the victims of the deadly tornadoes back in March 31st of 2023. He gave a statement to our newsroom, and it reads in part, "Maria and I continue to pray for all Tennesseans who were impacted by those tornadoes on March 31st, 2023. As recovery efforts continue, there is great hope in the outpouring of support that Tennesseans have shown in serving their neighbors during their darkest days." The director of TEMA also says that the road to recovery is long and difficult, but that leaders are committed to seeing it through. McNairy and Tipton counties both received more than 56 million state and federal dollars to rebuild. Now, if you or someone you know that is a survivor of those storms still needs help, help is available through those resources. What you need to do is contact your emergency management agency, and they will guide you as to what to do next and how you can rebuild and move forward. Let's go now 90 minutes away from Covington to McNairy County. Let's take a look at some of that video left behind of the devastation that happened there as well. We know that 9 people were killed in that storm that destroyed more than 100 homes. The damage was in the millions of dollars. While many have rebuilt, others have moved away.
In my opinion, that's why we put the long-term recovery group in place, because of the impact that McNairy County experienced, and because we know this is not going to be a 1-year, 2-year, and probably not a 3-year, cycle to get everything back up and like it needs to be.
McNairy County Mayor Larry Smith said that several grants have been handed out to families in need, but he says it could take between 2 to 3 years to rebuild. Now, 1 year after that deadly storm in Tipton County, Covington is also still recovering as well. That's where we are live this morning, bringing you that team coverage along with meteorologist Trevor Burchett. We're live this morning on Mueller Bass Road, which is where 4 softball fields are that are being rebuilt at this time. But you can see from all of the damage behind me, the trees that were left behind and still downed from that storm. Let's take a look at this video on your screen. That gives you a better overlook at exactly the damage we're talking about here at this softball field. Really, this is video from the City of Covington's Facebook page. It's been viewed more than 17,000 times because this was such a popular area where many families would come and just spend the weekends together, competing, cheering, and having tons of fun. This place holds many memories for people in this community, and it's one of the areas that the mayor says will be restored in the coming months and years. It's a very special place. Let's go now to another special place, which is in Wynne, Arkansas, with meteorologist Trevor Burchett, who is following the recovery efforts there.
Yvonne, we're at the Wynne Yellow Jacket High School football stadium this morning, which is one part of the school that has been completely rebuilt with new turf, new stands, and new lights. It's a part of the school that students can meet at and feel a little place of home. But just right over here is still an empty field where the Wynne High School once stood, with construction expected to start on that building a little bit later this year. For now, students are going to classes at a temporary campus just about a block away from here. That temporary campus is made up of glorified shipping containers, complete with projector boards and air conditioning. Large buildings like the cafeteria are inside of tents with PVC walls. Now, even though this temporary campus isn't their permanent school, they have made it feel a little more like home. We saw some teachers that had brought out plants to put in the walkways between their classrooms, and the temporary basketball court even has the Wynne Yellow Jacket on it.
Hopefully this fall we'll be able to break ground on the new school, and then from there it's an 18 to 24 month project. Right now we're focusing on the now and worried about what we got to do here to get these kids graduated, ready to be successful.
Yvonne, I have to say it is so inspiring to see what these students and staff are continuing to look into the future. You know, this would be hard for anybody to go through, especially for students. Think about those ones that were just a month away from their high school graduation. But progress is well underway here in Wynne and at Wynne High School, and it'll be just a couple more months before construction starts on that new high school. And Yvonne, one student we spoke to said the best days of Wynne, she believes, are still ahead.
Trevor, thank you. You know, people here in Covington, their overall message is hope and faith. They believe really that the storm anniversary this year being on the 31st, it's Easter Sunday. They don't think it's by coincidence or chance that that's the case, because they see such a rebuilding that's happening here, a rebirth, if you will, in the city of Covington that will continue for the weeks, months, and years to come. Let's send things back to you all in the studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Trevor and Yvonne, for all of that coverage on that anniversary for this weekend. All right, our coverage of the Mid-South tornadoes 1 year later does not stop now. In fact, After the Storm premieres tonight at 7 o'clock on 24+. Now, that is our free streaming app for Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. For more information on where you can download 24+ and watch this special, just visit ABC24.com/watch. You can also watch the special reports from our Pepper Baker and Danielle Moss tonight at 10 o'clock as well. We have some developing news for you this morning. Mayor Paul Young narrowly avoided an assault at Folks Folly on Monday. Memphis police telling us the mayor was actually leaving dinner when a man tried to force himself into Young's car outside of the restaurant. Officers arrested the suspect, James Banks, who you see on your screen. He was charged with disorderly conduct and public intoxication. This morning, a Memphis mother is on a mission to save lives after her son was shot and killed. 16-year-old Jeremiah Kaiser was at a party with friends at a rental property on March 16th when someone drove up and shot him. A horrifying situation for his mother, Jessica Kaiser, who says his death could have been prevented. If you have any information on this shooting, please contact the Memphis Police Department. Speaking of Memphis Police, the department will be holding a hiring fair. It's going to be happening tomorrow, March 30th. It's going to be at 170 North Main Street, rather. It's at 11 o'clock. Make sure you bring your driver's license and fill out an application on site. There will be information available for basic police recruits as well as service technician jobs. And some good news for you if you're an Entergy Arkansas customer this morning. The utility company announcing that they will be decreasing customers' electric bills beginning with the billing cycle in April. It's because of their low-cost power generation portfolio and their lower gas prices. Now, the average residential customer is going to be seeing about a $10 decrease in their bill. Got a reminder for you this morning in honor of Good Friday. Solid Waste Management will not be picking up trash today. Collection, though, will resume as normal next week. Today, by the way, opening day for the Memphis Redbirds. Corey's excited about this. Memphis's AAA baseball team takes on the Charlotte Knights at AutoZone Park. First pitch for that one is 3:05. Is it going to be baseball weather, Corey?
Ruben looking really nice out there for anyone heading out to the game. You can see this afternoon temperature is going to be in the low 70s, partly cloudy skies. An absolutely gorgeous end to the week. And this Easter weekend forecast looking pretty good too, Ruben. We're at around 77 on Easter Sunday with mostly cloudy skies. Overall, pretty quiet through Monday. That's when our next rain chance comes in as we go into Tuesday.
All right. Thanks a lot, Corey, for that. Remember, you can watch the After the Storm special at 7 o'clock on 24+. Have an absolutely... Oh, we still have about 30 seconds left. Corey, I did want to say before we get out of here, so you are a big baseball fan. Are you going to be at today's game?
I'm going to be there, so if you're heading out to the game, you can maybe try to find me. I'll be enjoying some of that weather.
And don't bug him too much. You'll be enjoying the game. Again, you can watch that special After the Storm at 7 o'clock tonight on ABC24+.